Hey there. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the comics I got in for this week. It's kind of a light week, so I thought I'd take a look at the catalogs that I got into. Starting off, we've got Justice League Unlimited number 8, and this is wrapping up the We Are Yesterday crossover between this and World's Finest, also written by Mark Waid. So this is kind of the conclusion here. Really looking forward to see how they wrap this up and if they stick the landing with it. Then we've got the new issue of Superman. This is number 27. Again, kind of continuing the Summer of Superman that DC's doing. And again, we get some more corner box art here. Not sure if that's going to focus. So yeah, but again, just fun old school kind of stuff that they're doing there. So this is a new version of sort of telling the history of DC. And if you'll remember, a few years ago, Mark Waid also did the history of the Marvel Universe. And so, again, kind of spoilers here a little bit. So it looks like it's sort of the same format where we have sort of big splash pages with, text throughout. So that's kind of what we've got here, too, going on. So just kind of recapping what's all happened in DC over the years. Kind of straightening up the timeline, I think, too. I'm not crazy about this format because it becomes so wordy. It's almost like you're reading a textbook at a certain point. So, I mean, I want to keep up on what's going on in DC, so I will read this, but, I might wait till the series is over with and just read the whole thing together, because this is a book you're really going to have to set some time aside to read. And so then we also have this, new timeline of everything too, and again, sort of like annotations where everything happens kind of in the history of DC. But yeah, a lot of words here. So I read all the comics I get, so I'll definitely be reading this. But this is one that's definitely gonna take a minute. This might be something to read on the weekend. Next up, we have a new facsimile edition from Archie. So this is Archie's pal Jughead, number 78. And so originally this was supposed to be out last October. So yeah, it's kind of got like a monster theme here. I think they wanted to have it out in time for Halloween, but it was delayed. I'm not sure why. I assume there's some logistical thing with it, because it's like, why would, kind of in general, why does any facsimile edition get delayed? It's previously published work, Yeah, I'm not sure what year this is from originally, but, this is a decades-old comic here, so... the other thing, too, is, like, a lot of the facsimiles coming out now, too, are on kind of the glossier paper. I kind of wish they'd go back to a newsprint for these. I know there was a Kickstarter I backed for some other Archie facsimiles that are going to be coming out, and I think they are putting on more like a newsprint for that. I think DC's done it with a few, but I feel like a lot of facsimile editions are on the kind of more modern glossy paper, and then that becomes like a whole issue with the colors and kind of how it's meant to be portrayed, because again, like the rougher kind of newsprint will absorb more of the ink, so it affects the colors, but like professional colorists back then compensated for that. So sometimes we get like brighter colors than we're supposed to, especially for like horror stories or like a moody kind of theme. So again, that's kind of a big debate kind of going on in comics anyway. But yeah, I feel like just going back to more of a newsprint stock paper would kind of help with that. And again, I don't know what the logistics and financials are of that these days, because again, you're talking about something that nobody's really using anymore. So it'd probably be, I could see where it could be more expensive even than printing on the kind of standard glossy paper everyone uses these days. So that's it for the comics I got this week. Again, super light week for me. Just 4 regular comics and no Batman, no like actual Batman book title. So I thought I'd take a look here. I got the DC and Marvel catalogs in. So I thought we'd take a look here at the DC Connect. The big thing this month is the new Batman number 1 coming out. And again, as I've previously stated, I think this book is coming out so that Hush can take its time and wrap up when it wants to. This is the July catalog for stuff coming out in September, which, originally Hush 2 should have wrapped up in August. We already have a delay, so we know that's not going to happen. So, again, I think this is a way to keep a Batman book on the shelves even if Hush 2 isn't wrapped up yet. So right off the bat, we've got the new Batman #1 here by Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. And again, this isn't even a question for me. I will be buying this book. I collect Batman. I will get this. This is just the next issue of Batman I'm going to buy. And again, here we have a whole bunch of variant covers. We have sort of like a logo cover, Frank Quitely, Art Germ, different guys. Something else, too, I was just thinking about. This catalog is printed on more of a newsprint, too. I'm sure this is like a cheaper kind of thing, but maybe Archie should be using this for their facsimiles. Got a little preview art here, too. Looks pretty good. I saw this announced online the other day, too. We're getting a new Red Hood series. So it's saying this is spitting out from Hush 2. So I don't know if Hush 2 doesn't wrap up. Does this book get delayed? I'm not sure. I am interested in it, though. It looks like it's sort of like a Red Hood and Huntress team-up book, which I feel like, why haven't they done that before? Sort of like the outcasts from the Bat family. That could be a really good concept. Kind of want to see where they go with that. Looks like we got, the next Absolute Batman, and it looks like we're getting one of the DC WIP editions for Absolute Batman #1. And so this is like a larger 11 by 17 size book. And again, so that's the size that the original artwork is done for the comic book. So if you're unfamiliar, comics are drawn at a larger size and then shrunk down to the actual size here. So this will be reprinting that book at the size it was drawn at. Then, we've got some more Absolute books here. Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash. I'm kind of reading these as they come onto the DC app. I'm not actually picking up the physical books of those. So then we've got, sort of the Superman section here. We've got the crossover coming up with Booster Gold and like Darkseid's version of the Legion of Superheroes. And more Superman books. Again, I'm getting, some of these. Superman Unlimited by Dan Slott, definitely getting that. Mark Waid on Action. We've got Wonder Woman, Justice League. So then we've got this sort of timeline here for sort of the all-in books. Starting with Absolute Power and going up to whatever this Omega symbol is for in the fall. So building up to another crossover. Got Justice League Red, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #2, Detective Comics 1101 here. Again, definitely pick that up. Detective is like my favorite series, in comics. Then we got some more of the Batman books. Looks like we're getting the 25th issue of Birds of Prey. Looks like, it's an oversized issue, so it looks like, probably a pretty big story going on here. Then more of the Batman books. Batman and Robin #25, New Adventure. Looking forward to that. I've liked the Memento story they've been doing in there, but I feel like it's dragging out, and it's not even over yet. I still got, a couple issues of that to come out, and I'm kind of wishing it would have wrapped up already. So it's decent. Just kind of feel like they were stretching it out so long, I was afraid that they were going to cancel the book, and they were just running the story till the end of the series. Then we've got Batman and Robin Year 1 #11, which kind of bums me out because this is only going to be a 12-issue series, so after this comes out, there's just one more. Got New World's Finest, Batman Dark Patterns, a really good mini-series by Dan Waters. If you haven't been reading that and you like Batman and like detective stories, definitely get that. Then we have the last issue of Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. I've been enjoying this series, kind of bummed it's wrapping up, but, we knew that was going to happen. So it's here the final of the epic story. I think they mean finale there. Oh, then it looks like they're doing some kind of fall-themed variant covers here. So this is like a little checklist here of all the variant covers they have coming out for that. Then getting into more of like the DC Universe superheroes here, Flash, Green Arrow. So I'm getting Green Lantern Corps currently. I really liking that book, but I'm not getting Green Lantern, so they're crossing over. I think I'm going to try to ride this out and see if I can kind of understand the story just from reading Corps. So, Again, I haven't been reading Green Lantern. I don't know how good it is or anything, but we just kind of want to get cool right now. Yeah, then we've got some other... So we've got the 4th issue here of New History of the DC Universe. Again, the first one just came out, so I might wait till that comes out to kind of read all that. Then we're getting a sequel to the Batman First Night series by Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins from a couple years ago, so we're getting Second Night. I think it's interesting with this, too, because they are calling it The Batman, and so it's hyphenated Batman, kind of like the old spelling from the early appearances. And it's definitely like more of a Golden Age style Batman. I feel like this is interesting. They're doing some projects like this and the Batman Cape Crusader cartoon that's on Amazon, which are both really good. But I feel like this is interesting because in about 10 years or so, Batman's going to enter the public domain. And this is the version that will be going into the public domain. It's sort of the original 1939 version. So I feel like DC's kind of getting some of these projects out now, probably partly to help defend their copyright, but also knowing that like other people are going to be taking a crack at this. So, you know, they probably, if they have anything like this, they want to get it out now. Then we've got some other sort of, I don't know, not Elseworlds necessarily, but sort of different books. And we got the 2nd issue of Immortal Legend Batman. Again, that's sort of like the guys that do the massive verse books like Radiant Black and Rogue Sun and them, which I really like, kind of doing their take on Batman here. And they kind of have it little here in the catalog, but that's Michael Cho's variant cover, and he just posted that on his Instagram the other day, so there's a nice good shot of that if you want to take a look. Again, looks really different for like what he does, but I really like it. Then we have this book here called Court, Children of the Round Table. So it looks like this is a new book by Tom Taylor. And it says it's an all-new take on the Legend of Camelot. So it looks like this is like a new kind of IP. I don't know that this is based on anything. You know, it doesn't look like Elseworlds or anything necessarily. So yeah, I'm not sure. Now, they do talk about Mordred in here, and so he is, you know, the wizard from, like, Legion of Superheroes. So yeah, so it's like talking about the Camelot Corps here. So this might just be a new thing. I don't know that these are necessarily like kid versions of the superheroes or anything, but I guess they could be. I'm not sure. Then we're getting DC's Satanic Panic. #1, kind of, again, the title kind of a takeoff of like the Satanic Panic from the 80s, where parents were worried about their kids getting into like satanic dark stuff like Dungeons and Dragons and things like that. So it looks like this is kind of the fall, you know, kind of Halloween special that they're doing. Oh yeah, so now we have a new facsimile edition of Batman #1. I'm not sure here, but I think this is supposed to be at the original Golden Age size. Because, again, the facsimiles that we get now usually are the modern, you know, comic book size like this. But, again, Batman #1 was, you know, 1940, so it's a larger book. So, like they did with the Detective 27 and the Action Comics #1 that they've recently done, I think that's what this is supposed to be. I don't see anything here in the listing talking about the size, but, again, it's $9.99 regular price, so that's got to be a bigger book, I would think. Then we're getting the Batman 635 facsimile, and this is the first time that Jason Todd is the Red Hood. And we're also getting a Superpowers variant for that. Again, I've been getting all those. I like those Superpower action variant covers they're doing. We're also getting a new facsimile of New Fun Comics #1. And so this is the first comic book that DC published 90 years ago, it says here. So yeah, that's something I'll definitely pick up. I think they did a hardcover version of this a few years ago, but maybe it was, you know, during when we were all locked up at home. And so I think I missed out on that. I never did, like, see that in person, I guess. So getting into some trades here, we've got the new Absolute Martian Manhunter, the We Are Yesterday, and some of the other. We've got Long Halloween, Last Halloween in here already. So yeah, just some different collections here of some good stories. So I like what they've done here, though, too. So we have the compact comics editions organized here, and then we have the new DC Finest line kind of all together here. So again, a nice way to kind of organize these. I see them kind of scattered throughout some of the catalogs, and I was kind of hoping they would kind of organize them like this. Yeah, we've got a new version of the Human Target coming out, and we've got the first Warlord omnibus by Mike Grell. Warlord's a book I always kind of on the fence about. Like, now and then I'll pick one up if I find them cheap or something like that, but I've never read the whole series or anything like that. And, oh, was that it? Yeah, it looks like it. So that's the end of the catalog. So that's everything coming out from DC in September. And then we've got the Marvel catalog. So right front and center here, Deadpool and Batman. Again, this was announced a few weeks ago. So here it is. Probably going to be the best-selling book of the year, I would think. I can't think of anything that would top this necessarily. I think it's interesting, too, that we've got Batman on both catalogs this month. So that's kind of neat. You know, I don't think that ever happened before. You know, it's been years since DC did a crossover with Marvel, and I don't think they each had their own catalogs last time they did this, so probably a first for that. So yeah, right off the bat here, we've got, you know, this kind of neat logo, kind of combining the Deadpool and Batman logos. And so yeah, first thing, Marvel, DC, Deadpool, Batman. Now, they have these other titles listed here. So we've got Daredevil, Green Arrow, Captain America and Wonder Woman, and Jeff the Land Shark and Crypto. And so they have already announced that there's going to be more crossovers in 2026. So when these names leaked, I thought that was crossovers that we're going to be getting later, but apparently they're backup stories in this book. So kind of surprised. I'm not sure how big this book is going to be. Does it say? Yeah, 64 pages and $6.99. So yeah, I really figured this book would be more. I could definitely see this going almost, you know, to $9.99. Not that I want to pay more for it, but I feel like there's a lot of fingers in the pie on this one. And again, we've got a ton of variant covers here coming out. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing those as we get closer to the release of this. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then down here, don't miss Batman Deadpool 1 coming from DC in November. So that'll be the DC side of this. So yeah, this is definitely a book I'm going to pick up. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so now it looks like Marvel's doing another Age of Apocalypse thing. I'm not sure what that's about. Yeah, so this is interesting too. They've announced this book, so Spider-Man 94. So it looks like this is kind of like the X-Men 97 comic we got. So kind of continuing on the sort of animated adventures of Spider-Man from the 90s. And I thought the Spider-Man Unlimited cartoon was a continuation of the Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s. So I don't know if this ties into that or takes place after or how that works. I might just be overthinking it. Yeah, then we have this Battle World book. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's the next big crossover or what, or just crazy fight book. I don't know. Yeah, so we're getting a Marvel Zombies Red Band book. I think that's interesting. I really liked the Marvel Zombies when they first started, but kind of once Robert Kirkman left, I was kind of done with it. So this might be something I end up picking up. We'll see. Again, a Red Band book, you know, comes in a bag and is, you know, pretty violent. So, yeah, and then next we have a new Punisher Red Band miniseries. So, yeah, this is one I will probably definitely be picking up. I think Punisher, like Wolverine, is really suited to this format. And could do some pretty crazy stuff with that. Yeah, so we have some preview art here that's been censored here in the catalog. And then next up, we've got the next issue of Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. Here's the variant cover with Godzilla and Iron Man armor, which has kind of been going around online lately. Again, a friend of mine just pointed out to me, too. He feels like this would be better suited for, like, a Mechagodzilla. But what are you going to do? Imperial War. Haven't really heard anything about that coming out. Strange Iron Fist, Black Cat Thor. I think it's interesting that, you know, we have a new Thor series after the Immortal Thor, and, Looks like we've still got Al Ewing writing and Alex Ross on covers. I've got a new Ghost Spider. Yeah, we got this Uncle Scrooge, Earth's Mightiest Duck miniseries by Jason Aaron. So last time it didn't list a artist for this. It looks like we have. Ooh, I'm gonna screw up this name. Ario Anindito. That's my best guess. I'm sorry. So I guess that's who's drawing it. And again, I'm not sure why that was classified or a big secret or anything. I feel like they just didn't have somebody lined up in time for printing the catalog. We've got the next issue of Marvel Knights of the World to come. Again, this was the big shocker of the first issue where we find out we might be getting a white Black Panther. New Captain America series from Chip Zdarsky. Kind of moving on to the Ultimate books here. Looks like Ultimate Hawkeye is getting a series. Not sure if this is a mini-series or an ongoing. I guess it looks like an ongoing to me here, so. Then we've got Spider-Man Incursion, and Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimates, X-Men, Wolverine. We've got the new Fantastic Four by Ryan North and Humberto Ramos. I guess One World Under Doom will still be going on in September. So I thought that was kind of wrapping up. I thought that was kind of... I was assuming this was wrapping up and leading into the new Fantastic Four series, but I guess not. Or they're still just like milking it. I don't know. Avengers. Oh yeah, so Amazing Spider-Man number 11. We've got this big countdown to issue 1000. So yeah, so this is issue 975 then. So that's the legacy numbering for Amazing Spider-Man number 11 there, I guess. So we're about 25 issues away from Amazing Spider-Man 1000. That's one I'll definitely pick up. And then we've got issue 12 too. I don't know. I might start picking these up if we're getting to 1,000. I might do that just so I kind of know what's going on in the story when we get there. We've got some Venom stuff, Avengers, different things, Wolverine and Deadpool's, X-Men, X-Men, X-Men. So many X-Men books. I don't know who keeps up with all these X-Men books. We've got Incredible Hulk. I feel like people were kind of going on about Incredible Hulk when it started, but I feel like, I don't know if it's lost steam or people just aren't really talking about it as much now. We've got some Jeff the Landshark books coming. Got some facsimile editions. So again, the Fantastic Four that I've been getting the regular and foil variants for. Looks like we are also getting a variant cover by Marcus Toe. I really like his art, but man, I kind of want to see what that cover is before I order it. Then we've got the X-Men 139 facsimile, and again, this is the Death of the Phoenix storyline. And then we've got Civil War number 2. Got the next issue of the Wolverine Revenge Red Band Raw Black and White edition. I'm not sure why this isn't black, white, and red. You know, Marvel does these black, white, and blood books, so I'm not sure why that isn't one of them. Got Daredevil 25. Other stuff. Yeah, so like just like this here. Predator, black, white, and blood. So, yeah, I'm not sure why the Wolverine Red Band isn't that. Looks like we got the next issue of Predator Kills the Marvel Universe. It looks like we've got the X-Men and some of the Avengers going up against several Predators here. Okay, so it looks like we're getting a Boba Fett black, white, and red. Now, again, not black, white, and blood, like some of the Marvel stuff. And I think the Maul and Vader books were that too. I think I'd have to double check that. But yeah, I think it's interesting that it's red, not blood. So I don't know if maybe Disney wouldn't let them do that with Star Wars or with Boba Fett specifically. We've got a new Han Solo book here, miniseries, 5-issue. Looks like it's kind of what Han Solo and Chewbacca were up to before The Force Awakens. Some more Star Wars stuff. Oh yeah, so we've got the Trick or Read, sort of the Halloween event. Looks like these are the Marvel books for that. So we have Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four, Venom Lethal Protector. I'm assuming that's the newer one, not the 90s Lethal Protector series. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, again based on the Disney cartoon. Really good. If you haven't watched that, check that out. X-Men 97, and then another Spidey and His Amazing Friends kids book there. Oh yeah, so we got the Marvel Premiere books, and we're getting one for Hawkeye: My Life as a Weapon. This was a great book. This whole Hawkeye series. I'd buy this if I didn't already have these books, but if you haven't read these, definitely pick them up. Looks like, what do we got? Superior Spider-Man Returns, Armor Wars Omnibus, Black Panther, Sentry, Ultimate X-Men Omnibus, X-Factor, Marvel Fanfare. Oh, it looks like we're getting a collection of the Marvel Disney What If stuff. Red Hulk, Miles, Moon Knight, Fantastic Four, Marvel Tales by J. Michael Straczynski. I think this is these are like the crazy crossover books he was doing, like Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon and Ghost Rider versus Galactus and that stuff. So I didn't pick those up. I haven't really heard anything about them since they've come out, though, so we'll see. It's got some Star Wars collections, Jedi Knights, Wolverine, Weapon X-Men. We've got a Doctor Doom Epic Collection coming out. Again, there's going to be a lot of Doctor Doom stuff before, Robert Downey Jr. shows up as Doctor Doom. Some other collections. And, then we've got the posters here. And then here's, sort of the checklist of everything coming out if you need a reference for that. So that's the Marvel catalog. So yeah, so that's everything I got this week. Again, not a lot of comics, but, a lot of reading, especially with this. But yeah, that's everything I got. Did you get anything good this week? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter/X @Detective651, also on Instagram @Detective651. Be sure to check out my t-shirt store at tpublic.com/user/Detective651. I've got a lot of nerdy designs on there, and there's sales all the time, so check it out frequently.